Right, so hi guys, welcome back to the Supercircuit Podcast. It's been a good year or so since the last one. I definitely need to start catching up on things, but I'm really happy to say I'm joined today by a lovely guest. If you'd like to introduce yourself, sir.
Yeah, sure thing. So, hello everyone. My name is Mark. I run a YouTube channel called MB Homeland, and I've been making fan films on YouTube. Probably for about 9 years now. Yeah, and I kind of stopped for a period of time. A lot of people sort of said goodbye to me around about 2 years ago today, or 2 years ago this month. But we've made a nice little mini episode that we want to share with the world, and that's kind of why I'm here.
Indeed, and I must first and foremost, I'll say, well done, congratulations on getting that ready for around November. That's going to be a really nice thing to see. It'd be lovely to see your crew back and doing some stuff. First and foremost, I'll ask, how are you, sir? How are you doing?
Oh, mentally, I'm good.
That's very good.
Yeah. What a question. How am I doing? I like that question. It's a good question. I'm not against the question. I'm at peace. I'm in a good state of mind. A lot of positive things happening in life, but as well as in Doctor Who or just in the community in general. We're about to come up to obviously the 60th, which we're all very excited about, but also just the news recently. There's going to be Doctor Who on iPlayer and Torchwood and Sarah Jane. And, there's all these fan films coming out, not just mine, but there's many other ones. And I won't lie, it's probably the best time to be a Doctor Who fan film again. It feels like there's this real oomph of quality coming out. And obviously there's alleged spin-offs, stuff that are still leaks, still rumors, but it looks like Doctor Who has a very bright future.
Indeed. I mean, I saw that they were doing some really secret filming, and apparently Russell has said I didn't think the 60th anniversary specials were enough of a celebration. So he just went, yeah, we filmed an extra thing. And I'm just like,
Russell, I've heard this. Yeah.
You're giving us back David Tennant and Catherine Tate for 3 episodes. What in your sense is not enough? This man is a hard worker. He really just wants to do his best for the fans. It's just wonderful.
Yeah, definitely. And I'm trying to remember what I was going to say, but yes, it's incredible seeing him back. I'm very excited. There's an element of nervousness though, because he is well known for being the Doctor Who, the writer who brought back Doctor Who. Let's hope he's not the one to kill Doctor Who, which God forbid, but you don't want it to be very poetic. I have my strong opinions on Doctor Who and stuff like that. It's had its highs, it's had its lows. As a former film student, film graduate, it's kind of my life and soul to assess Doctor Who, review it, give feedback. I think fans out there who say every moment of Doctor Who is great are lying to themselves because nothing is like that. But that's the good thing about the show. So I am optimistic. I'm excited, but let's just watch it play out. That's kind of how I feel.
Of course, yeah. And as myself, a creative digital media graduate as of November 3rd, nice. I can tell you, my best way to judge Doctor Who is I just sit down with my mother, who I like to think is the general audience in this sense. I just go, you encapsulate the entire general audience. So when we sit down and watch something like, say, back in 2015, a little episode called Hellbent, we completed watching it, and she gave a very honest opinion of it, which I won't share what she let's just say it was not a pleasant response.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, so, I do always get those muddled up. Is it Heaven Sent or Hellbent? One of them is very good, one of them is very bad.
Heaven Sent is the one where Peter is on his own, apart from obviously the very big kind of nun-like creature that follows him around. And
that one's very good. Yeah.
And Jenna Coleman shows up for I think literally 30 seconds.
Yeah, and she has her back to the camera. I think she's just staring at a wall that says all her lines for her.
The stunt double got paid very well that day.
Probably, to be honest. Yeah, to be fair. Yeah.
But the topic of fan films have really been making a comeback. With young filmmakers, with older filmmakers. It's just everybody's sort of just coming out of the woodwork and producing really great stuff. Like yourself. I mean, it's I mean, I think I saw, who did I see? I can't remember, but somebody's come out of the woodwork and is making a big audio thing again. I just went, wow, this is, the 60th can really bring, like, anniversaries really bring out the best in us sometimes.
Yeah, definitely.
So I guess before we get on to a blip in time, which, that is going to be one of the main topics of this conversation.
Definitely, yeah.
It's, like, mate, I've been looking through 9 years. Like, I got to say fair play to you, like, because, I'm only kind of getting started on my journey with stuff in terms of filmmaking. So I can really admire it. I mean, I've been looking back through it and just seeing, like, obviously it did start out with yourself, of course, like, as the doctor and stuff. And then you've gone to, I'm trying to remember, I actually have it on my phone just so I don't forget.
Sam, I think it's Samuel Moore. He's the most recognizable one, just simply because he had the most episodes, but yeah.
And then obviously Callum Houston after him. And I'll say this, like, Callum really shined through it, like, as Doctor You, like, because after Samuel, like, because I feel like it's really good when you all have something that can bring it towards. I think Callum has a real, like, energy. It was just like after Samuel, he just sort of just jumped up onto the screen. Even with the first shot of him on the TARDIS console, I was like, this guy's got, like, eyes of wonder. Like, you can.
I know.
And he. Like that series, like, obviously that, last series 6 you guys did, like, he really shone, like, it was, and I must say, I must commend you on the fact of regenerating a Doctor mid-series, because
it's not been done since the classic era. It's not been done since I think the 6th Doctor. I think technically he regenerates at the very end of a 5th Doctor series, and then he has the Twin Dilemma, and then Attack of the Cybermen is the start of, I'm not going to remember the season number, but it's the start of the next season. Thank you for that. I appreciate that. It's been 9 years on YouTube, but I technically started making films when I was like 8. So it becomes a bit of a gray area. So 9 years on YouTube, I think it's 17 years since I first pushed action on an old Kodak camera and pretended to be the Doctor and make adventures in my parents' garden and stuff like that. So some people say you can't have made fan films 17 years because you've only been on YouTube for 9 years. It's like, there's a great somewhere between the middle of them. It'll be nice next year to potentially celebrate making 10 years of making content on YouTube, although it will technically be 18 years of making stuff. So
I mean, it's like, I was looking back today, like, and I was looking at, obviously, the video where you discussed, yes, there are episodes from before, obviously, when you started, and it's just, it's nice to just, but it's nice just even as a filmmaker, just to realize, wow, I've been making this content on and off YouTube for years, I'm coming up to about, how old is this channel? I think it's about, I opened it, and I think the last video I put up on it was, I think, New Year's of 2013 or 2014. I get really mixed up in those, but
so 10 years.
It's it's nice, but I definitely think, like, more could be done, but we'll get off that.
I feel like that with, like, I remember I started making fan films, and we started with series 2, and it obviously raised the question, where's series 1? And that is probably my biggest regret. Like, I could have just forget about the fan films no one has seen. There's no point. It's going to confuse everyone. Just start with series 1. And there was a time I was going to go through and change every series to be, so series 2 is now series 1 and series 4 is now series 3. But some videos have embedded in them, it says the series, and I'm like, this is too complicated. Some trailers say series 5 coming soon. If I change it, it's just going to come too complicated. The damage is done. Just leave it. So
I mean, I can tell you, trying to go back through something that's already been uploaded like ages ago, and you're trying to find the old file for it, and it's just it's a hassle.
There's not enough time in the day.
I mean, I will say, like, in 20, what was it? I think it was it 2021? I'm trying to, because I was discussing this with I think him, Delta FX.
Good guy. Matthew, is it? I think it's Matthew.
Matthew, he's
Matt,
currently, obviously, the new Prism, Alacrity Doctor, as it's been.
Of course, on Overton.
Yeah, he's I was talking with him, and he honestly he's really impressed by how far you guys have come. He's and I was watching a bit of what obviously you guys did a kind of podcast a couple of years back, and I was really thinking, whoa, it's just great. And the last episode you guys left off on, with the everything with the derelicts and with I must say you really did a great job, like leaving people on a suspenseful sort of kind of cliffhanger. But it was a really nice, I guess for the time, it was a really nice ending, because it was, even though there was obviously spoilers for people who haven't seen this, a fan film from 20. But unfortunately, one of the characters does not survive. It is a solid, it's a sad thing. But you guys gave him a choice.
I was going to say I put it to a vote. I was like, all right, someone's not going to live, and you guys have to decide. I remember a lot of people thought that was a really clever idea. I felt like it's something that had never been done before in Doctor Who. But also some people were so joyfully hurt in a way that they were like, oh, don't make me kill Isabella, don't make me kill Dylan. It's like, why can't they both live? So I could completely understand with how people felt about that. The one biggest regret I have with that is, and I guess it kind of is the reason we're doing a Blip in Time, is because we kind of feel like both endings were also rushed, in the sense that time was of the essence. I think we were filming some stuff a couple of weeks just before it released, so it was a real time crunch, and I think you lose the emotion. I feel like either ending you pick, someone dies, oh well, let's get in the TARDIS, let's leave, bye-bye. And that was kind of the thing I felt coming away, is like, okay, that we need to have some closure. And I guess that's kind of what a Blip in Time, not to spoil too much, I'm not going to say much about Blip in Time, but we're going to see how the Doctor is post those events and how he's feeling.
Of course, because I think Callum's Doctor, I think in that episode, just his emotion really shines, like especially when obviously he finds out about one of his companions, spoiler again, being a murderer. He's really he's left it shocks him, like, because he doesn't expect, like, because in Doctor Who, like, I mean, we know River Song's probably killed a couple of people, we know it's just one of the things where it's like somebody who has actively been traveling with him, it feels really like Christ. How could you do this?
I don't know if I don't want to sound like I'm listing loads of regrets, but I don't know if I regret that sometimes. Like, I feel like, so Isabella, who again, spoiler, is the character who is revealed to have killed this missing person, Jessica Williams. But when we first meet Isabella in series 5, she's very lonely, she has no friends, she gets bullied, she gets picked on, and she actually is taking her life. Technically, she jumps off of a multi-story car park, and it's only by chance the TARDIS locks onto her because the Doctor's actually in danger, that she saves his life, even though he doesn't realize that he just saved her life. And you have this person that's very depressed and a lot of mental health and kind of things that matter now, things that are quite topical now, and things that are important to talk about and address. And she's at her lowest, and then the Doctor shows her the universe. It kind of gives her a reason to live. And then it turns out she killed someone, and it's like, oh well, never mind. It's well, like, I guess, yeah.
You did a lot with that, like Jessica Williams story. I mean, I remember, where was I? I remember walking up the road and just watching the video about, how you came up with this whole campaign and stuff and setting up.
Yeah.
I was like, I've never seen anyone else go this length. This is.
I know, yeah.
Only I've only seen that Doctor Who site that they used to do for I think Clive or something.
Yes, yeah.
And I'm like, this is that level. This is Phantom's, like, there is a level to try and like do where you kind of really get integrate technology that we already have and try and make it feel like we are living in the world of Doctor Who in a way. And it's
definitely. And it's like it's kind of similar with what they did recently with a lot of the trailers for the 60th. They have hidden messages that when you rewind them, they say something. So you have this other element of you can go find Easter eggs, or there's even some stuff I think they put binary and people are working that out, and it's like, wow, I wouldn't even think about it. A bunch of ones and zeros on the screen, that probably means something, but I don't have the time of day to go work it out. Oh, it doesn't matter, someone on Reddit has already done it.
Yeah.
So but yeah, no, it's incredible, and it's different. It adds different layers to Doctor Who. You have an episode, you have its behind the scenes, you have its outtakes. But then when there's a website that exists in the real world, or there's a campaign, or there's a secret message if you play the sound backwards, it's like, wow. It adds a whole new element to it. It's called transmedia storytelling, I think. Yeah, transmedia storytelling. Yeah. It's telling media through different stories.
I mean, it's a good way to do it. I mean, like, I think they're like, I need to look it up again because I'm very out of touch. Like, weirdly enough, being in touch, like doing creative digital media degree, and then all of a sudden being out of touch with TV in the industry, it's gonna like, But like, I've seen I can't remember the name of the show, but they did like obviously the interactive stuff where you can choose multiple endings and stuff. That's sort of like it, but in another way, I guess you could say. But rounding off back to the Isabella, I think,
of course,
Isabella character, you definitely. I think with companions, there is always going to be at least a flaw. Like I think with the Doctor, there is always some flaws with himself. But with his companions, it gives more layers to them and how his trust is. And we always know the Doctor upholds high, values, like what he wants, what he wants to try and do for the universe, what he expects of people. So when I think it's a good challenge for him to try and be like, okay, you've done this, but I've shown you the universe, and you have become a better person as a result of me helping you. So this does conflict with my judgment, I guess you could say. I guess that does bring us on to where we are now. And I mean, I guess the first question I'll ask is, what did lead to the even just the initial idea of Blip in Time? Obviously no spoilers. Of course, we're still away from the release.
So I'd say when we finally wrapped filming for Series 6, which I believe was August the 28th, 2021. And there's a reason for that. I'll bring that up in a bit later. But I probably spent a year and 6 months, and I just didn't think about the channel at all. I genuinely just focused on uni. I was entering my third year. I then graduated. I was looking for work. And the odd video went up. I've uploaded uni short films, stuff that people can just watch in the meantime. But I spent a good year away from YouTube, and I don't know exactly what propelled me to want to get back into making fan films, but I do remember at one point just listening to the music that one of our composers had done for the Series 6. And I was like, this is so powerful, it's so moving to listen to, and I haven't listened to it in so long. I even messaged him. He might even be listening, but yeah, I messaged him and went, I just listened to a song you did a year ago. Thank you so much. This is incredible. I forgot about stuff like this. And I remember there'd always been kind of back and forth banter between myself and Daniel J. Patton on Instagram. Like he was once doing one of those Instagram ask me any questions sort of things. And someone said, who would you want to collab with? And he said, MB Homeland. I was like, that's such an incredible, I'd love to do that. So me and my girlfriend have always admired his work, and we've always kind of had him in the back of our mind. And then one day, my girlfriend, who is she has a master's degree in creative writing, she just sort of plopped down a script in front of my face and was just like, I've written this. Do what you want with it. I was like, okay, fair play. And then it had Daniel in because obviously she had thought about him and went, at the end of the day, you can write a script and nothing happens with it. Like I've written plenty of scripts and they've not gone anywhere. So she wrote it for fun, and I said, you know what, I want to try and make this happen. So I got in contact with Daniel. He was all for it. And then several months of pre-production. Like this was 10 months in the making, I think. So this was January this year.
Yeah.
So it's been the longer. It's one of those things with MB and Homeland where we always have a secret. Like no one knew the Daleks were coming.
Yeah.
No one knew Callum was going to be the Doctor. A lot of people were speculating it would be this person, that person, but Callum had never appeared on the channel before, and that's what made him perfect because you didn't see him coming.
You always need a wild card. I think that's like
exactly
outlier. I think is the best way to go. You don't expect them, you know.
Yeah. So it was like, okay, and yeah, touching on with the Daleks, for example, that did leak by accident on a podcast like this. However, I think they unlisted it, and I've never seen the light of day of it since. But if you were kicking around on a podcast about a year before the episode went up, you would have been spoiled something. But I don't think anyone noticed. But yeah, coming back to what I was saying, which I've kind of gone blank on, but yeah, 10 months in the making. We love keeping a secret, and that's what this has basically been. Like, it's even been a secret from family and friends. You know, there's so many people that didn't know about this. Like, Series 6, I believe, had 47 people involved across the whole production. That can range from just doing music or just doing a cameo to obviously some people who did a lot more sound, camera. Not that there's a small role or a big role. They all helped and they all made this incredible series that it is. But for this project, it is 10. Just 10 people. 5 of which, maybe 6 I've never worked with before. So those 47 names, a lot of them were not involved, not for personal reasons, just because let's keep this the biggest secret we can possibly have, even from friends that I hang out with every day. And then I go home and I have calls with Daniel and I don't tell anyone about it. And that the trailer that just went up the other week, it blew up not just with the fans, but I got floods of messages. Mum, Dad, it's like, what's this you've been making? And then friends were going, is this an old video you made years ago? It's like, no, this is new content. And they were like, I'm so excited, you know, because they get to watch it as a fan. Yeah. Some might have been hurt, but no one's been honest with me yet and gone, I was hurt you didn't include me. Like, obviously, some people feel that way and those things happen, but so far, the general consensus is everyone's so excited to tune in on a Saturday to watch a new MB Homeland.
I won't lie. I did that night it came out. I did message Dan and just go, "Hey, you didn't have you on this?"
Yeah,
because you know, like we did. Me and Dan, like obviously, I was in Dimension of the Derelicts.
Were you? Oh,
yeah, I was the big bearded, the one with the gun.
I believe so. Yeah,
Jordan, Maggie May's brother in that episode.
Oh, I do know you. Of course, I do.
Yeah, don't worry.
That's where I know you from.
Yeah, I was the one who got shot.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but
it's always a fun thing. Yeah.
Oh yeah, it was brilliant. To be fair, I will tell you, I was just literally like when they were about to shoot, like when you see the Daleks about to shoot Jordan, they can cut to that in like August 2021. Me just staring at Dan with the camera. That's all. Yeah. I'm just like, kill me, Daniel. Kill me.
Yeah.
Put me out of my business.
Nice.
Yeah.
Are you quite local to him then, I'm guessing? Are you not too far from each other?
Well, all right, I'll say this. Dan did say this on the Overton Audios podcast back when we when he initially had filmed it and obviously had gone home. He goes, Aiden is literally on the other side of the country because we live in, we're in Ireland. I live in Cork. It's basically the opposite side of the country. So it's it was a long journey, but a well worth one. Honest to God.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. And
I will say working with like Dan. Dan is an incredible worker. He I can imagine yourself with this, but he just puts in just so much good work.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, and the only thing that was a shame with Daniel was we planned quite early on that we would meet him in the flesh, and he was going to come down to where we were and we were going to film with him, but due to personal stuff and also just general things, he was unable to make it. So it was a real shame we never got to meet him like you did, but he did, as a thank you, he said that he would do any CGI or special effects shot. And it's like, oh, okay. And it's like, without going into too much detail, looking at them so far, I'm like, okay, this has really upped the level. This is better than, it's really improved the value of the production. And yeah, I'm just so grateful that he was able to do that. And he's got a fantastic background. I think he's worked on children's shows or something like that, or edited for stuff like that. He's a very talented man.
Yeah, he's been more. I mean, I don't know. Like, see, my mind is telling me, and you might know he's worked on something, but you might not be able to say which thing it is because I don't know whether anything. But I do know he has worked with TV, and it is.
Yes, yeah.
He is honestly his. I'll say this. I've watched Dan since like 2011 when he made his first like figure adventures.
Same.
They were with his doctor and everything, and it's just seeing him go from that to the level he's at now.
Yeah,
just it's so good. It's wonderful. It's just like this man has worked hard to get this level of skill. Yeah. And I obviously don't know what shots there are, but I'm really excited to see what he's done for this special.
Yeah, definitely. And to big Daniel up because he is a legend. But if you look at Doctor Who, you look at the classic era and you look at the showrunners of the time, Philip Hinchcliffe, John Nathan Turner, and so on, and then you see how that paved the way for people like Russell T and Stephen Moffat. And I feel like people like Daniel are the future of the show. I feel like give it 10, 20 years. I feel like whether he wants to work on it or not, I think he should. I think he's a fantastic guy. And it's really interesting to see how with Russell coming back, I think he's also keeping that in mind. He's going to bring it back. He's going to hype it up. But then he's almost going to be like, this is over to the next generation, the handing caliber, what is it, caliber? Yeah, handing on the baton to the next person, and I feel like, I feel like Daniel's so talented that he deserves to be a part of it in any way possible.
Yeah, they've like Doctor Who has definitely like been. I think Russell has really, how do I put it? He's honest to God made it so more accessible for fans. Like he's been on, he's on Instagram. I've been told like. I've read in magazines and stuff that he watches the Twitter. So I'm just like, so anytime I tag Doctor Who, I'm always keeping conscious of the fact that Russell T Davies might be looking at this because he might be looking at everything just to get an idea of what we think about. So I can imagine everything that's happened through. I wouldn't say obviously the start of Moffat's era, but definitely through the end of Capaldi's to the end of Jodie's. He's kept a firm eye on everything, and that fills me with joy. And also fear, but it's you can't have one without the other in a way.
Yeah.
But I mean,
definitely,
But obviously, rounding back to Blip In Time.
Of course,
of course, of course, yes.
That thing,
So for Blip In Time, what was the? Obviously, we talked about Dan's VFX, like what that he's kind of done stuff for that. What was the? What can you imagine? Like, can you say anything about the production other than obviously that? Like, over the course of the month, how was it planning it and just getting things off the ground? Obviously, getting the TARDIS back together, getting the TARDIS sorted out, getting, asking, what was it like telling, saying to Callum, would you like to come back and, do?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. It was a hell of a journey in the sense that, like, I remember taking each individual person on a walk. So I took Callum on a walk, and I wouldn't say it was to coerce them, but have a catch up, see how they were. Sometimes it would even be a second walk. So not even bring up Doctor Who at all on the first walk. Genuinely just go and see them, see how they are, check in on them. Me and Callum had some very deep discussions, mainly about religion. Just we're getting old. What are our beliefs? We talked about a lot of things. I remember we went up to one of the highest points in Bath and just overlooked the whole city. And we just sat there in the grass and we're just like, what do you think of this? What do you think of that? And, it was, sounds a bit like an acid trip, but no drugs were involved. It was just sort of wildlife, peace, just enjoying where you were. And I brought it up to Callum, and Callum has always been someone who is always on board to make more content. So that wasn't an issue. Some people I spoke to, I had to kind of persuade them because to them, maybe Doctor Who, I don't want to say it's below them, but it's almost like we've done that. We've ticked that off our bucket list. I want to go do this now. So some people took some persuading, but everyone who I wanted involved was involved. There was no one who was a second choice or a third choice or whatever. So it was then refining the script, probably up until May. So what is that? 4 months of production, just refining the script, getting it all fine, getting it all right. Then I put out. Oh yeah.
Oh no, I was just going to say, as someone who's currently editing a 60th anniversary audio, I can tell you myself, I relate to you a lot with refining
Yeah.
the script.
Yeah. Well, the thing that bugged me the most was it was 4 months of refining the script. However, on some filming days, people would go, "This line doesn't make any sense. We've had months to look at this. We spent 4 months. What were you doing? You were on the call. What were you doing?" It's like, come on. So there came a point where I was like, on the day, that line's not changing. Sorry, we've been over this, you know. But that's life. So first 4 months writing the script, refining it, getting it to the perfect stage. My uncle Graham, who regularly appears on the channel, I think he's well known for playing Rassilon in a couple of episodes. He is a massive critic of my work.
Oh,
in a good way, you know. It's kind of like what you said with your mum. You know, she'll watch Doctor Who, and she is the target audience. And he has a background with writing, and he knows a lot of famous writers. So Graham is kind of the go-to person when it comes to, if he likes it, then we're on to something. And with this, he liked it. So we were like, okay, this script, it's something good. I put out a casting call looking for actors. Primarily the soldier. Again, I won't go into too much detail, but there is a soldier, appears in the trailer. You don't see his face once. You can easily Google him because I credit him in the description, so you can just type in his name and find out what his face looks like. But regardless, I was auditioning for him for that role. However, to keep it absolutely top secret, not once was Doctor Who mentioned in the casting call. So it was this mystery. It actually had a fake name. It was called A Time to Forget. So there's this fictional name that we came up with for all the casting calls. We had about 20 people apply, maybe 10 sent in auditions. So we sent off a script extract to 10 of them. However, we reworded it so that it didn't mention anything Doctor Who-y. So this complete fake World War II story, A Time to Forget, featuring this soldier, you know, and etc. I won't spoil anything, but yeah. And I had these 10 auditions of all these people that didn't know at the time they were applying for Doctor Who. It was quite fun, I won't lie. It was really nice being like, you know, and then I whittled it down to 3. I got on call with them individually, didn't mention anything Doctor Who, went over the scene again, play it different ways. So what about if you play it like you're more angry? What if you play it like you're more emotional or more manipulative or something like that? I then went on call with my crew. I played them each free interview, and we whittled it down to one person who is the actor we went with. And so I got on call with him, and I basically said to him, "I've not been honest with you. This is still a World War II story. The script extract is still true what I told you. You know, everything I told you was true. However, it's a Doctor Who fan film." Yeah. And I had a PowerPoint ready. I broke it down with him, and then I basically said to him, "Look, we can either have you play this role, and we plan filming days, we plan costume fitting, and we go ahead. Or if you do feel hurt, you might feel like I've not been honest, which is completely understandable. Then we go our separate ways. All we ask is you don't tell anyone."
Yeah.
And his words were, "I'm in with both feet."
Hey.
So I was like, yes. So
that's what you like, because some, you know, obviously with Doctor Who, it's very hard to, like, you know, I think like with people who try and put out, at least we see with Doctor Who fan filmmakers, sometimes we go within our own circle. So sometimes when we have to put out a casting call, we're just like, oh, do I say it's a Doctor Who fan film? Do we just say it's a, because we're trying, because the thing is, we are like, a lot of us, I think, we do make them to a good standard, like, and I think that's definitely the case. Definitely. And it's just trying to tell these people who are obviously the actors, of course, that we aren't trying to like lower standards or anything. That, you know, we're really trying to tell a good story and trying to get and having them involved would only improve the quality of the, you know, the material.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, and like in my opinion, as a wannabe producer, you know, I've had my uncle appear, I've had my mum appear, I've had my friends appear. It's like, I really want to tick some boxes now. It's like, I want to get this actor, I want to get that actor. And that obviously leads into the Churchill actor who, oh boy, you know, like finding someone who looks the part, sounds the part, acts the part, because it's quite hard to do, you know. I could have just put my uncle in a suit and given him a cigar, but it wouldn't have been the same. It wouldn't have felt the same. And the presence he has in the trailer so far, so many people are chuffed and really pleased with it. So yeah, that was a lot of fun.
Churchill is it's I think with him as a character, it's very hard to like try and just, again, as you said, find someone, because and even sound like Churchill, because the one thing that what I'll always relate back to Churchill is, I am speaking to you from the cabinet room, you know, that kind of sounding voice, and it's really, you know, he's really nailing Churchill beat for beat, and it's I don't know why, but it's always interesting to see Doctor with a historical figure, like any historical figure in some sense. Like, obviously, some historical figures definitely don't be a Doctor, but like with someone, it's just lovely to see Callum like in that moment, just with, you know, someone who's notable in history, like, you know.
Yeah, definitely. I won't lie. You've seen nothing yet. That's all I'll say, because in the trailer there's one shot of him with the cigar. There's them shaking hands from afar, and there's obviously the traditional "Don't forget to subscribe" outro, which was a lot of fun to film. But yeah, there's so much that he's in that didn't make the trailer at all. The trailer was interesting in the sense that, like, who did we want to be the surprise? Because technically any of them could be. Daniel could have been the surprise. The mystery soldier character could have been the surprise, but I felt like Churchill was the selling point. The soldier guy, the mystery person that you see in the background, is kind of the kind of question that's left unanswered. You'll leave the trailer going, I wonder who that person was. And Daniel's there for the fans of Daniel, and he'll bring in that audience. And obviously it's the merging, and it's the first time collaborating with another YouTube channel, so that was always a lot of fun.
I mean, I can definitely say, just to come in here, Dan is sure. Dan. I when I've talked to Dan in the past, in a nice thing, he's always mentioned you guys as people he's always wanted to collaborate with. So I appreciate that. He's been very, very vocal about it. I'm just like, to see him there, just like, finally, it's like finally it came true.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and I it's weird because it's quite surreal. It's because, like you said, I grew up watching him. You know, I remember seeing him in DW 2012's early work, their 50th, 10 years ago. I remember seeing him in that. And obviously the short films he made. And it's weird. It's worlds colliding, but in a good way. And just touching on Churchill again, like it's not really a spoiler, this, but I did originally, the first person I approached was Ian McNice, the actor who played Churchill in actual Doctor Who. It was actually a suggestion by Daniel, who said, why not? And I was like, yeah, why not start high and then work down? So I approached him, sent him an email. He's quite active on Facebook. So I thought I'd pop him a message on there too. Sadly, no reply. Oh, well, not a biggie. And then we kind of started to look at Churchill impersonators and Churchill lookalikes. Steve was our third choice, but looking back on it, he's our best choice, because I originally went with the guy who was already in Doctor Who, because obviously you would, because he already knows the role, he's played the role, fantastic. But actually, Steve maybe looks more like Churchill, you know, actually looks more historically like him. And because he's well known, because he does this for a living, he dresses up as Churchill, goes to V-Day parades or to various memorial events. He has the costume. He had like 4 different ones. He brought all of them. In the end, we only ended up needing one. But he had the props, had the costume, he had the voice.
Your time saved in costume.
I was gonna say, yeah. It was like, this is sorted. Like, we still had to source the mysterious soldier character, as well as a couple of other costumes that appear. But the Churchill thing was a big tick, and he did it for free, which was great. So yeah, it was very kind. I told him, because obviously we're a small production, but I made sure just to pay for his hotel, his food, his transport, anything that could get him to us and get him home safely. That's basically the deal I normally do, which is, I think that's fair.
Yeah, because I won't disclose the details, but I mean, I did a short film for uni last year, and I made sure to try and pay every member of crew that I could, like, you know, especially my cast member, because we had one cast member, but one main guy, but I was like, he's done a lot for me. Like, he did a lot for me over those 2 days. We only did like a 3 day shoot in total, but just the fact, like, you know, I always have this thing in the back of my head, like, you always gotta do something for your actors as a repayment, like whether it's monetary or at least just feeding, just feeding them, like just look after them, because it's like they're doing a massive effort for you, like for your film, and it's you know, and honestly, well, you know, well done to yourselves, you know, for looking after him and making sure he was accommodated, and
definitely.
And what I've seen from the trailers, he's definitely giving you guys a performance.
Exactly. Yeah. And the only thing I always feel bad about is because I've made so many short films in the past. Sometimes you work with an actor, you have a blast with them, you film with them, but then you don't see them again, and it's a real shame because you know there are actors I've worked with for uni short films, and I message them, I keep in touch, but it's like, oh, they're in London or they're up north. It's like so far away. It's like it's such a shame, but you don't also want to just keep reusing them because then it becomes a bit pointless. It's like, it's the Churchill actor, but now he's playing, I don't know, Boris Johnson. He's like, oh, it doesn't really work. You have to,
Doctor. We're going to talk about the economy. Yes.
Yeah. So it's nice to mix it up. It's great to network, meet new people. But all the actors that we work with, supporting actors, Daniel, the Churchill actor, the soldier actor, they all had such great stories and such great backgrounds, such rich backgrounds. It was fantastic to work with them all. Yeah.
And I think, it's just wonderful. And I mean, like, I just, like, I don't know, it was just the way, like, I must say, right, the quality, like the camera, like I like to look at technical stuff. So, like, you know, the camera quality, the effects, the, like, even just the locations. Like, you know, in my last my last 2 years of uni, I've become a real fan of like location shooting around my area now. I've been able to find at least 5 to 10 locations that I think could pass for alien planet, historical location. It's just, you know, and you don't even need to leave your front, like, a lot of your front door. Like, you're just like, it's all around me. You just need to be very specific. And I think I was looking, even just the shot from inside the big hall area. I was just like, I have no idea how you got that. No idea what you know, where that's from. But wow, it was just, it's just like, it really feels like kind of like a parliamentary kind of situation there, you know.
Yeah, definitely. There's a lot of I don't know if I can really go into detail about the stories of how I secured that location in particular, but by chance we got it. The people who were there, who run the place and rent it out, were so supportive, so nice. They were very catering. They looked after us. Like in a similar situation to you, like if I look through my journey of making films, I remember being like 16 and for the first time filming down the wooded area near my house. And I was like, this is so cool. I've never done this before. This is such an achievement. But then, like, each project we work on, it's like, well, I want to push the boat out a little bit more. You know, I filmed there. Now let's go film on a beach. I've never done that. Let's go do that. And it's like, well, I want to go film in the Aviemore Cairngorm Mountains in Scotland where it snows. Yeah, let's go do that. And he's like trying to tick boxes off. And I think I started by going too far out, but now I've come close to home, but I'm using places I've never used before. So it's like, I've walked past this building every day because I work down the road, and I've looked in and gone, that's a beautiful building. That's great. Let's ask. And it's small things like that. Like, I won't lie, since filming in that beautiful banqueting room, every time I walk past it now, I look at it and I go, that was such a great memory filming in there, you know. And I can probably tell you this, but all filming's wrapped as well. So for the people who are out there wondering about a Blip in Time, it's wrapped, it's done. Just before speaking to you, I was on call with the crew. We just looked at our third rough draft. So things are well on their way. Everything's filmed. So could probably release it now if we had to, but it wouldn't be very good. It's still missing some shots. But so we've got it's a month and 2 days till it releases as of this recording. So we've got time. We've got plenty of time to make it perfect.
I mean, I'll say it's like, you know, well, you know, fair play to you guys and your hard work, you know, so far, like, because making. Like, I will say I'm currently editing an audio. I know that's extensive because you have to do a lot of sound design, like more sound because it's like a stage, like literally like make you feel like a stage thing and whatnot. But with obviously live action, a lot more elements, color grading, going through, going through, I guess, just how it sounds in the thing. Do you need the ADR, all this kind of stuff? It's
it's easy you say that though, but I don't know what is harder, audiobooks or visuals, because the reason I've never done audios is because I just feel like I can't get that. I can't. It's such a challenge because not only are you layering the sounds with so much, you've got the dialogue, you want it to sound like where they are, you got the room tone, the atmosphere, whatever, but also just telling that story through audio. I can't do that, so I admire you for that. That's a very hard thing to do, in my opinion. I could never.
I would say, I mean, Mark, I was a lot like yourself. Like a couple of years ago, I found it really hard to adjust to the audio format. Like I've always had a filmmaker brain. I always like to, looking through the camera, like seeing stuff. Like I like working with my actors just in the moment and filming something and get something back. So, like this has been kind of a kind of nice adjustment period for me, and I like learning a new skill, and it's interesting because at least now I have an idea of both formats, and I can, but it's, I think, I mean, I won't lie, I do want to get back into filmmaking at some point.
Yeah,
definitely want
to. But we're also, audio is so underrated. Like, so many people when I went to uni, they're like, I want to be a director, I want to be a cameraman or a camerawoman, and it's like you don't realize just how important sound is until it's not there, and then it's like, oh shit, it's there's something missing. But one of my lecturers said to me, and it's always stayed in my head, is like, you can have a slightly out of focus shot. You can have a camera that's a slight tilt. There's nothing wrong with that. You can make small mistakes with cameras, and it can go under the radar. But if there's a glitch in the sound or something's missing, a door gets slammed and there's no sound, immersion is just broke. So some would say sound takes more priority over visuals, which is a shame that there's not more people who want to get into sound, because it's such it's probably the most important element of a film. It's up there with visuals, but maybe slightly higher.
Yeah, because I mean, similar to yourself, my lecturer did say, like, he literally he was British himself, and in his words he went, if you don't have great sound, you're just making a silent film. And that's all it is. Unless you want to do that, that's perfect, he says. But anyway, you need to nail your sound. You need to try and make sure it is, crisp, that you can hear. You can just hear what they're saying or what's around them, like just the wind in the trees and everything. It's
but, exactly. I couldn't agree more. Yeah.
But well, I mean, the visual. I'll say this. This is, obviously, I'm just saying, like, your work up to now is incredible. Like, but I must commend you on just like certain things, like just even the shots of the TARDIS, like when Callum's in there, he's looking around and stuff. I'm like, I've never really seen it from those kind of angles and those kind of shots. It's just, it really gives me an idea of, like, he's really into his thoughts here, and the room looks amazing. I know, like, I look at this TARDIS console, I was like, this thing's on a journey. It's been on a long journey of, like. How long has that been, like, there for now?
I think 6 years now, and I will quote someone who works on the production. Like, as much as we love our TARDIS interior and stuff, he said it's probably the thing that lets us down in this. Not in a bad way, but I think it's because there's so much new stuff, new locations, new actors, supporting cast is amazing, incredible, but we're so used to the TARDIS, we're so used to seeing it, that it's sort of like, oh, okay. But new viewers or viewers that are tuning in after a long time, they're going to obviously be very excited to see the TARDIS, any TARDIS, a lot of people, I'm a big enjoyer of just looking up fan-made TARDIS interiors of other fan filmmakers, or also just people who make them for fun. And going on to the shots, it's our DOP, Tom Ford, who does all the shots. I sat down and did storyboards with him. 99% of them were picked by him. I suggested the odd one. The shot looking down from the bird's eye of the TARDIS interior, that was my suggestion. I was like, I really want to do this. And it was actually ignored by most of the crew for the longest period of time. But it was the last shot we did on that day. And it took a lot of rigging. put the widest lens on that we could find so that you could get as much of the set as possible without it looking too distorted. And we left it up there and did like 20 different shots just in case we needed them. And yeah, in the end, it made it into the trailer, which probably says something. But yeah, great thing about our DOP is, and I mean this in the nicest way to him, I think he hates every single shot in this film. He hates them. I was just on call with him, and I'm asking for feedback, and it's always, oh, I don't like any of the shots. And it's like, but you yourself said they're amazing. I think they're the best we've ever filmed ever. 2 years since we made fan films, and he's learned a hell of a lot in 2 years, and this is why he might be the perfect man I've ever met. Is because he is his own biggest critic. And when you have an ego and it gets in the way of you, and I probably have one, to be honest, it can be your downfall. But with him, he's always looking for new shots. He's always questioning it, and it's never enough. He's a perfectionist. And that is what makes him perfect, that he is so imperfect about himself. No. That's my shout out to Tom Ford. We love you, Tom Ford, wherever you are.
I like, honestly, I'll commend him. Tom, well done. Like,
if you're listening, Tom,
if he's listening, I think it's like we're all. I think in a nice way, we're all our biggest critic. Like, which is going to be, but it's I can understand his idea. Like, when you're looking through that lens, you're looking through everything. You're just trying to like, did this work? Did this not? And you go back to the editing, and because what you might have seen, it might come out different on the edit and the software, and you're like, no. But it's like,
I know,
Here, there's just, it just feels so cinematic, and I will say it does feel like a massive like jump from Series 6. I was like going, wow, this is like, I mean, I can imagine, like, I kind of feel like I was kind of asked, is it new cameras and stuff or new technology? But just incredible. It blew me away. I was just, it's even by just the thumbnail, I just went, this is very different there now. This is like 2 years off has done a lot of help for these guys.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, well, with camera and equipment, I am very, because I like, the thing with me is I will plan everything. I'll get the cast, they get the crew there, and then that's pretty much it. In terms of equipment, I don't know anything. I can help with sound. I know how to set up a Tascam and a lav mic or whatever. In terms of what he does with his camera, I ain't got a clue. I think from memory, it's a Sony something. I know with Daniel's camera was a Blackmagic. So yeah, some new equipment, stuff that we've never used before, stuff that we're incredibly proud of. And yeah, it's mad to think that it was only 4 days. It took 4 days to film it, and then compared to Series 6, because we used to rush things so much. Like, I remember there was one day in particular, we filmed 19 pages in a day. That's so many pages. And I think it was an episode that didn't do very well, to be completely honest with you. But with this, even though it's a mini episode, it's not that short. We're talking about 15 to 20 minutes at the moment, still editing to do. But there was some days we were filming 9 till 5, so we had an 8-hour day, and we only had to film 2 pages. Like, that's how much we took our time. Really took our time, got as much coverage as possible, and it shows.
Yeah, because I think I mean, I'll say as someone, a little bit of spoilers for some of the stuff we're doing over on DeWem. I think I don't know if you've heard DeWem, where there's
I think I have.
Yeah, it involves myself and a couple of other people as the Doctor.
Okay.
It's sort of we I mean, I'll say there is a 60th coming out. That's the one I'm currently working on, which does involve Daniel and a couple of others, including
nice,
Connor and everyone. And there is a couple of visual things that might be there in connection with it. I won't say a lot, obviously, because like yourself, I'm trying to keep everything as much as But there was one thing we did, which was I wrote it in the night. It was about 4 pages, and I said to the boys, let's, be careful with this, because we originally wrote something that was a 9-pager, and the boys nearly had a hernia when I told them that, because they were like, "Come on, man, I can't do this." And homework, I went, "Okay, here's 4 pages. We'll be fine. Don't worry."
Yeah,
Got it done. Got it done in about half an hour to an hour. That was literally just one area. We just, and we were very relaxed. We just went with it, and I just wanted to see, like, again, just, pace yourselves. Just take your time, get into it, and off you go. And I must say to you guys, like, that, the change up. I mean, 19 pages. Jeez, like,
I know.
I've never done that, but
yeah, I wouldn't recommend it at all. It was a TARDIS interior day. I believe it was.
I mean, trying to get that all done in one day is probably the goal, to see it just like all.
Yeah, I think it was just so every TARDIS page was done. It was the first ever filming day of Series 6. So it was for episode 4. It's the post-it note episode where the TARDIS is filled with post-it notes everywhere. And they all start losing a sense. But yeah, wouldn't advise it, wouldn't recommend it. It's also the first day of filming, so nothing's going to be perfect. You're gonna be picking things up for the first time, and it was the first time a lot of crew had joined from uni, so there's a lot of new faces, a lot of fresh faces, and yeah. But you live and learn. You live and learn.
I mean, that was, to mention, like, there was a day we had where we shot out in an abandoned football pitch. I have no idea where the location was. It was somewhere where
fair play.
It was that one where it was in the rain and whatnot. And I remember that day just took a toll on all of us, especially Dan. He was doing his best, God bless him, and it was like that. It was primarily there the entire day, and then that night we did a night shoot, and I gotta, like, again, I know we're mentioning Dan a lot on this podcast.
Oh, God bless Dan. Dan and Tom,
legends. But it just, oh my God, like, that was I went there that was my first time meeting him as well. That was a 4-day weekend of shooting.
Really? Yeah.
And what we got a lot done for a whole weekend. It was just wow, and like that thing's over now. Like, there were only a few scenes to have to do after that, like, maybe TARDIS scenes and whatnot, whatever. But like, it was, I remember just like, I probably wouldn't recommend that to people, because it's just, while it is fun, you're also trying to at least hang out with people and kind of like just enjoy the company, and it's
and it can seem rushy, and I can get very tunnel vision, especially if I'm like, okay, we got all this to do. We're here till 5, and then security are going to kick us out. So nobody talk to me. Let's do this, And then afterwards, I'm like, I'm so sorry if I was grumpy, Oh, let's go for a drink, things like that. But
I think on this production, it's just like, thank God there was, it's like we've all grown, we've all, updated our skills and how we handle the situation. It's like, thank God for growth.
And planning it as well was so important. Like I said, it took 10 months to work on this, A Blip in Time, and then 4 days filming, and then that was it. And it was like, oh, okay, that was easier than I thought it would be, because we made note of everything, we foresaw everything, and filming went smooth. Like, I wish I could say there was a bump, but there wasn't. There wasn't a moment where, like, a crew member forgot their hat. Oh no, what are we going to do? Or someone went to the wrong location. There were times maybe someone was half an hour late due to traffic, but these things happen, but there was never any, there weren't any bad moments. Which I wish I could say that for every project, but
I mean, it's like, it's a sweet story. Like, I mean, if you want to, like, obviously we've kind of been talking away about the production of it. Like, if you want to now, discuss a little bit of what you can say about the story, obviously, in order to, like, just for people who obviously aren't aware of, MB and Homeland, just like in their stuff, you can let them know.
Yeah, sure thing. Yeah. Well, what can I say? What can't I say? So I remember originally I booked 2 weeks off work to get this film made. Okay. 4 filming days, 2 weeks. Okay, that's 2 a week. That's actually pretty easy. Okay, I can do that. And then the Churchill actor, because he's so fully booked, he's so busy, he the dates I had told him originally back in May, sadly he booked for them. So we ended up actually filming the week after my holiday. So we managed to get all the TARDIS stuff or anything that Churchill wasn't involved in. And then the week after, it was basically the days I wasn't working, I was filming, which was it was a tough week. It was 9 to 5 at work. And then on Sundays, it was a 9 to 5 at work, come home, do a bit of filming, go to bed, repeat. And then any day I had off, I typically have 2 days off a week, the standard 9 to 5, 5 days a week. And then those 2 days I was filming. So, but I'm quite fortunate. I write the rotor at my work. So I was able to move some stuff around, nothing too much. And then I was able to film. In terms of production, we're quite fortunate. We have our own public liability insurance. People who are listening might not know what that is. It's basically just so that you're trustworthy to film in public. It's something that anyone can get, but you pay a certain amount a month or a certain amount a year. And that's how we're able to get these locations, or filming in a quarry, or filming on a railway preserved or a museum place, things like that. And it's probably been the best thing that has helped us the most. I can't imagine making fan films without it, because you could spend a day emailing back and forth a person about filming at a location, and then they turn to you and go, "Do you have insurance?" Oh,
yeah, it's
goodbye.
It's just like, oh no. Well, actually, just so the people that know, the name of the insurance is
Public liability insurance.
All right, for any
PLI.
For any filmmaker, keep that in mind for a future.
Yes, yeah, and it doesn't cost much depending on which one you get. Yeah,
happy days. But yeah, I mean, it's really, honestly, well done. It's
well, thank you.
Just seeing when I just seeing that trailer when you guys start stuff start picking up again on the Instagram, because I do follow the Instagram. It's just lovely seeing.
Oh, nice.
You guys the videos talking about your timeline and just see where you guys came from. And I'm just like, Jesus Christ, 5 doctors. It's an extensive, because obviously you see the mainline doctors and that's a long one, but then you're just like 5, and it's just,
I know, yeah.
And a lot of that's the kind of thing a lot of channels have been doing now. They've got their own timeline of different doctors that all, either there's a gap or they change, or they instantly change into the next one, and it's just like Overton Audio is like with the Prism universe with Fractured Timeline, and I mean, only recently now Dan has put out the audition thing about.
Of course, I saw that. Yeah, I didn't apply, but it did cross my mind. I was like, probably can't apply, but yes.
Yeah. Oh no, sorry, you continue.
Oh, sorry, I was going to say, in terms of the R timeline video, the only biggest regret with that video now is we've just about to release something new, and it's like, oh well, now I'm gonna have to update the our timeline video to add a sentence at the end. I probably won't update it until we've released, another 40 Doctor Who fan films.
Well, it's there's plenty, honest to God, plenty of time to do more. It's still I mean, one of my friends did disclose and said, I think, who was it? It might have been I can't remember, but they said we're still once the 60th passes, November 23rd, we are in the celebrations year then. So technically, anything that's released within then could still be another little thing to,
Technically, yeah. That's how I look at it. As long as it falls November to November, then it is technically the 60th. Yeah.
Yeah. Perfect.
Yeah.
And I mean, what I was going to say, it's going to be interesting because, I'm looking at the story and I'm seeing, obviously, it's after this, so Callum's doctor is trying to, adjust to the period after everything's happened. He's kind of on his own. And then he just runs into Winston Churchill, and it's like, what? Yeah. And then obviously the Irish doctor shows up, and everything is sort of just thrown out the window.
Yeah. So it's,
obviously I know we can't disclose too many. I don't need. You can't disclose any details, of course, because
I can't even remember what happens.
That is very good. That's the mindset to have. Honestly, I think I should have that myself. Just when someone asks me what's going to happen, I couldn't tell you, to be honest. Yeah. Sadly,
it's normally the opposite, because I normally do the picture edit. I normally hand over color grading and other stuff to other people, but doing the picture edit, you're hearing the lines over and over and over again that I could probably say every line right now on the spot, but I'm not going to.
Very, very good. That is also
memorized in my head. Yeah, yeah.
It's just like when you memorize a script on a binge, you just memorize every page, and you're just like, I have it. Then afterwards, I've forgotten all of
it. yeah, definitely.
Yeah, but yeah,
it's a lot of fun. Yeah.
The 60th year is going to be the 60th. Is I think compared to the 50th, like we are really good. Like I think it's like along with you guys and a lot of our people, it's going to be a massive influx of Doctor Who content, and I think that'll be. I mean, it'll be something for Doctor Who magazine to have a little flick through.
Definitely,
yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, you guys would be one of the people I would want to get on the link page. I would hope, like, because
maybe,
because I think DW 2012 got in there, I believe. Like they got into one of the links, so I'm just like,
did they? Yeah,
I think for Dominic G. Martin's one anyway. I think because I think Dom is an incredible actor.
Yes, he's a great guy. He made a brief cameo in Series 6, which was a lot of fun. Yeah,
he's
great guy. I've interviewed him once, maybe twice, but and I've met him. Of course, I've met him. I've met him at Comic-Con. That was nice as well. Yeah. Completely forgot about him.
He's an absolute joy, and from talking to him over a couple of obviously talking to him on the podcast a while back.
Of course. Yeah.
Again, like Dan, another hard worker, just really puts in 110%. And
the future of the show. The future of the show. That's how I look at it.
Yep. It's and yourself, man. I look at it a lot, I know everyone's like, oh, don't boost anyone's ego. I'll just tip it over the edge a little bit, just just to keep it running.
Yeah. Who knows? Who knows?
Because I think I look at Nicholas Briggs, he was obviously doing his own little fan content back in the 90s. And
he was,
here he is, he's running Big Finish.
And Mark, I think Mark Gatiss appeared in a couple of his things as well, or he did his stuff as well.
Yeah. And then one of the biggest things I think Mark ever did is Adventure in Space and Time. I mean,
love
Where is it?
I still cry at it.
I mean, I have the DVD.
Yeah,
right here.
Nice. Yeah, it's one of the few things that makes me cry.
I like obviously the one scene I don't want to go with. That one.
That is a tough scene.
God. Yeah. But I think it's really going to be a good month of November. I think and it's I won't lie, I don't know if it's anything like what we'll see again. It will just it'll be a massive thing, and I'm really happy that you guys are going to be a part of it, and just
thank you.
And again, well done to yourself, your crew, to Tom Ford, again, if you're listening,
and to Daniel.
And to Daniel,
and to Churchill, and to Callum,
and
the mystery soldier person thing,
to a mystery soldier person, if you are listening.
And of course, there's all the crew as well, who I've barely mentioned any of them. The writers, the sound recorders, all of them, everyone who worked on it did a fantastic job. I'm very proud of this team.
Yeah, and I think that's it just be. I'll be what would you call it? An excited viewer when it comes out. I'll be just sitting down with some tea, a biscuit, and just watching away. And either here or on the telly. I don't know which one I'm going to try and do.
That's the thing I'm always very envious of, and I always say this to the fans, is because I'm so wrapped up in it, I know what's coming. I know how that was filmed. I know every detail. And I've always wondered, what is it like to sit and just watch my content? Because I won't lie, I'm a critic of Doctor Who fan films. I criticize a lot of them, But what would I think of my own work if I was not associated with it? And that's my biggest, the thing I'm most envious of is I wish I could be you or anyone sitting and tuning in and watching it. I'd love that experience. I don't know what it'd be like.
I think
I'd probably hate it, but that's just me. I'd probably absolutely despise it because of pure jealousy. But yes,
that's just any director at all. I think we all just look at we're all gonna look at. It's like Martin Scorsese. He'll look at something like Goodfellas. I had this quote where he just what's his name? Robert De Niro was sitting next to him in the cinema when they were watching it, and Martin was just like going off about like a certain shot, and Roberts just turned and going, "Man, it's over. It's over. It's filmed. We can't do nothing about it. It's done." You know. So it's good. It'll be really
what a journey. Yeah,
what a journey. And but to round off this podcast, again, I must say, first and foremost, it's been a delight to have you. It's been really
thank you, man.
to have you on, and
it's great to chat with you. Yeah.
You know, I mean, you know, and really happy to, you know, be kind of restarting the podcast in a really nice way with a great guest such as yourself. And
yeah, definitely.
And I mean, obviously to the fans, to anyone who's, you know, obviously new to Mark's work and MB Homeland, of course, I will link the channel below. I will link the trailer to A Blip In Time below. And, you know, once the episode is released, I will update that with the link to the episode so that you can check it out and enjoy. And
nice.
if you
I appreciate that.
No worries. And if anyone's here who's already watched the episode in the future time, we hope you enjoyed it. I imagine.
Yeah. or not.
You know, But again, Mark, really lovely to have you on, and you know, obviously,
thank you.
Again, also, I forgot to say this. Do check out the MB Homeland social media, the Instagram. It is, you know, it's still there, and it's just a lot of information on there, and just really helps to stay up to date.
And, and there's also merch. If you go to our Redbubble, you can get MB Homeland merch.
There you
I'm not wearing any. I've got my mouse mat, but I can show you, but this will just be audio, so no one can see that. Ooh. But you can get an MB Homeland mouse mat. Wow.
This is a plug, guys. This is a massive plug. All right. So, guys, this has been the Supercircuit Podcast, and we will see you later.
Thank you for having me.